Hey, Mountain Vista. Welcome to this special edition of the newsletter, Reflect and Act. This newsletter is just full of about a dozen or so ways you can continue learning and taking action on issues of race and anti-racism, democracy, and detention this summer. And this is all part of our learning journey together. We are asking this interim year, who are we? Who are our neighbors? And what are we called to do as UUs? And we are each being asked to respond to this world right now. So when it comes to all the possibilities of response down below in this newsletter, I want to tell you a personal story. When I was living in Los Angeles, I was involved with an organization called White People for Black Lives. It was part of Showing Up for Racial Justice, or SURJ, a national organization. There is a chapter in Tucson. This is a national organization of white folks who are organizing along organizations led by people of color and collectively take on campaigns and projects that really win real changes in people's lives. So this organization has these Courage Against Racism events, which are these like learning and fundraising events that bring people out to learn about an issue and raise money for the campaigns that they're taking on in Los Angeles. And sometimes there's 100 people, sometimes there's 400 people. One time it was hosted by this big UU church just outside of LA. They were informative, they were inspirational, they were effective. They raised money for campaigns, and you'd leave happy that you attended. They were inspiring, you felt empowered, you had clear analysis about an issue, and you felt connected to a bunch of other people. So on the second one that I attended, an organizer, Hop Hopkins, who's now the director of strategic partnerships for the Sierra Club, was speaking that night. He asked all of us who were there for the second time or the third time to go ahead and raise our hands. Now, we went ahead and raised our hands quite proudly. I felt very proud of myself because I came back. And we all cheered, right? Because it's good to keep coming back. It's good to keep learning. It's good to show up again and again. That is definitely part of the work. And he asked us to keep our hands raised. And he then asked how many people in the audience came with us that night. If you had been invited to come by someone who was raising their hand, go ahead and raise your hand. Now, what I remember of that is that very few people raised their hands. Now, luckily, I brought my mom, but it wasn't because I asked her, it was because she invited herself. She knew that these events were important to me, and she wanted to learn more about what was important to me. Go, Mom. And so I couldn't really count her as someone that I brought with me. But this is what he said. Activists can sometimes act alone. Organizers bring people with them. So here is my invitation for all of us this summer. Look at the list of opportunities to respond to the world beneath this video. Really look. Get a cup of coffee or tea or wine or water, whatever your drink is, and really look. What calls you? What do you want to learn more about or engage in? What action can you take? Register for it. Put it in your calendar or get started on it. Then think of one or two people who you could invite to go with you. Maybe it's someone from your Caring Heart Circle or from Fellowship Hour small group. Maybe it's from a team or a committee or a book club. Call your grandchild or your child. It works. Call a friend, call your partner. Ask someone to go with you. Now, this benefits all of us in multiple ways. One, you are building the fabric of our community because we actually will grow more if we're growing together. Two, you'll have a dialogue partner to talk over the issues with. You'll have someone that went through the same thing you did, and you can talk together. Three, you have an accountability partner. So you'll have to tell them if you decide to cancel at the last minute, which makes you less likely to cancel at the last minute, which we all ultimately end up being grateful for later on. And four, we actually build a movement because we cannot do what we are being called to do if we try to do it all by ourselves. And 5, you might catch a glimpse of me and the baby because I'll probably want to do some of these things with her as well. So there might be a baby viewing. This is our chance to keep growing together proactively, even as we are physically apart. So I look forward to hearing what you learn and sharing what I learn and hearing what all of us have learned and us moving forward together in the fall on the really important questions we have as a congregation and as the Baja 4. So go get that tea, that wine, that coffee, that water, that juice, and start looking. You are loved. See you in September.